Welcome to the Midday Sports with Rod and the Lunch Crew. Also, I got Fifth Down Sports in, the regular correspondent to talk college football with me, man. It's been a weekend of the underdog, might say. A lot of people might say it's true. Man, what the biggest, man, I was not, you called it, man. You called it. UK defeats the Gators at the Swamp, man. How big time was that? How big time was that?
It was big time in the way that they did it. I mean, they punched Florida right in the mouth, and it was one of those Mike Tyson situations. Everybody's got a plan until you punch him in the mouth. And when Kentucky was just running the ball down their throat, Florida had no answer. Florida had no answer to it. So that was a big one. I mean, App State, that game was amazing. That game was just fun to watch. It was just two teams going back and forth, and it wasn't going back and forth shootout. It was back and forth defensively. It was a masterpiece to watch. And then, Notre Dame just absolutely a debacle in Notre Dame, and I'm at a loss because I know exactly where this is heading. And
where is it heading?
You can tell me if I'm wrong, but we've been.
Don't give me no tea leaves. Don't give me no tea leaves. Say how it is, man.
Notre Dame, we've been down this road before with Ty Willingham, and what happened in Ty Willingham when his first year went downhill? What did the media do surrounding Notre Dame? Threw out the race card real quick. Oh, Notre Dame fans are racist. They're just against this guy because he's a black coach. No, people are going to be against Marcus Freeman because he's 0-2 and lost at home to Marshall. Like that's Notre Dame. You don't do that at Notre Dame. Sorry, but you can just tell that it's coming.
I think he still needs some more time to get some recruits in, man. But I understand Scott Frost getting fired.
You know I don't understand firing Scott Frost this week.
I understand it.
I understand him getting fired.
Look at the overall record.
I understand him getting fired, but I wouldn't have done it this week because I would have let him take the slaughtering that's going to happen on Sunday when they go to when Oklahoma comes into Lincoln. You don't want an interim coach. You don't want that as your first game. I'm sorry. You don't want. That's why I would have let Scott Frost tweedle in the winds and been like, all right, Scott, you're going to be done after Oklahoma, but you're coaching this week, and then we'll start anew. Because nobody wants this as their coaching debut. What happens in Lincoln this weekend is going to be nothing less than a slaughter. And big props to Clay Helton, the former coach at USC, took his Georgia Southern crew into Lincoln and did what they needed to do. So it was nice to see Clay Helton get some love out there.
Like how bad did that look, man?
That was the nail. That was the nail in the coffin. I mean, yeah, everybody knew Scott Frost was hanging by a thread. You can't lose at home, and you can't lose at home non-conference, and you can't do it.
You know what I mean? I understand Appalachian State being people. You know what I mean? I understand that. I really do. But you let Georgia Southern smack you in the face like that? That can't happen. I'd rather lose to Marshall any day of the week. But Georgia Southern, no, you can't have that happen. You can't have that.
Either of those. You just all three of those losses, and the only saving grace of that is Jimbo Fisher. I mean, Jimbo Fisher's got his own ticket, so he's the only one that's safe. I mean, Marcus Freeman, we can write it off as it's his early. This is not the way you want to start your career off at Notre Dame. It's not the way. It's not the way to go. Like I said last week, you can write off the Ohio State game because Notre Dame was the better team on the field for 3 quarters against Ohio State. So you could write that one off. You can't write off Marshall. There's no excuse for the Marshall game. There's no excuse for that.
Yeah, you're right. You're right. But whoever had these guys on their tickets, God bless you. Because
yeah,
I know your pocket's fat.
If you had those games, you either have a lot of money to burn, or you were just like, you know what, let's just do it. I mean, and if you've got that kind of money, come on, start donating to the channels.
Yeah, hit the cash app up, and also hit the cash app up.
Exactly.
Man, but man, how do you feel about that nail biter, Alabama versus Texas? Well, how did you feel about that game?
You know, you're getting a lot of this. You're getting a lot of this now. Hold on, I gotta get back here. There we go. You're hearing a lot of this. Oh, this shows Alabama's not as good as they were last year, and. You know, it's funny how people forget. A year ago today, Florida was beating Alabama in the 3rd quarter. And it was a nail biter just like this that Alabama won. And everybody said, oh, look at Alabama. They're not that good. Where'd they end up? Oh, in the national championship game, winning the SEC title. So to label anything, the only thing you look at this is, does Alabama have some problems? Sure, they do. Texas is a pretty good team. Texas is a good team. So you're not going to sit there and go, all right, well, this was a good showing by Texas, and that was it. Otherwise, Alabama survived. To win championships, you have to survive this way. You're not going to steamroll every single team, and this is what happens. I fear for whoever Alabama has this week.
You know, Saban was cursing them out, man.
Absolutely, Saban's going to use this. Saban's going to use this to his advantage the rest of the season. You know, oh, you guys rested against Texas. Look what almost happened. Never do that again. And he's going to make sure that they never do that again.
And you know what I mean? They expect a lot out of that, especially their defense. That defense didn't look dominant that game. You know what I mean? This is a you know what I mean? This is a first round draft picks everywhere. It looked like a Madden defense. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Like he expects more from that secondary. He expects more in them trenches with them DNs and linebackers. Anderson should have had balled out that game. You know what I mean? This is year to make some money. You know what I mean? And push his name up in that draft. What do you think about that?
Absolutely. That Alabama defense has draft picks all over it, and it all starts and ends with the linebacker / end Will Anderson. Will Anderson is going to be a top 5 pick. There's no question about it. The guy is amazing. So. But you look at what happened. Texas went from unranked to 21st, and they lost. Mm-hmm. They went up, and they lost.
You know what I mean? This gets me excited, though, to see how when Arch gets there, how this team is going to change. I want to see what kind of steps they make when Arch gets there, because I think he's a professional already.
Exactly. Arch Manning is going to change the culture down there, you bring in a guy like Arch Manning. Now you go out and you go out to all these other colleges and you say, hey, we got this kid we got a Manning coming here. You want to come play wide receiver for him? And they're going to hit the transfer portal. They're going to bring in a lot of receivers from the transfer portal. I can almost guarantee it.
I'm saying a lot of 5-4 stars coming out of high school going there. You know what I mean? Like,
I think a lot of I think a lot of the recruits will come there. But watch, you're going to see a lot of transfer guys going down there to play with Arch Manning because just going there, you're going to want to play with Arch Manning because what's everybody going to talk about? They're going to talk about Manning. Mm-hmm. So if you're the guy that he's throwing the ball to, well, you're going to get talked about just by being around that. So I think you're going to see a lot of it.
How do you feel about that? The shellacking Arkansas put on South Carolina.
They pulled away in the fourth quarter. It really was a tale of two games. Watching that game, the first and the fourth quarter were Arkansas dominated. South Carolina pulled it all the way. They were within three. Late in the third quarter, and then all of a sudden Arkansas just poured it on, and you saw Arkansas they have the cats to run, and South Carolina they put it all into the comeback, and they didn't have once they got it close they didn't have anything left in the tank. So I'm still suspect of Arkansas just because when they jumped out to that 21-0 lead, I was like, all right, Arkansas is for real. Then all of a sudden I look back and it's 28-24. And I'm like, wait, what just happened? And then you see the end, it's like 44-20 something. So, so again, Arkansas still has a lot to prove, especially in the SEC West. A lot to prove, but they're definitely a step up. Definitely a step up from where they've been. But we still need to see more, especially in the West.
And man, I know you definitely surprised. You definitely everybody picked Pittsburgh, even myself, against my Volunteers, man. But I'm glad my Volunteers got the W against Pittsburgh.
Damn overtime rules, man. Mm-hmm. I felt so good in that game in the fourth quarter because I had Pittsburgh at 6.5. So I'm like, all right. Once we go into overtime, I'm like, all right. As long as Pittsburgh gets the ball first, at least I'm a winner. Of course, Tennessee gets the ball, they score, kick the extra point. And they hold Pitt, they win by 7. Damn extra! If it weren't for that stupid, I would have had it on the. I would have at least had a cover. I would have at least hit it, but no, can't hit it. No, it was a good game by Tennessee. It was a good game by both teams, and we talked about Scott Frost. I'm going to be saying this from now until the end of the season. If you're Nebraska, the very first call should be to Pat Narduzzi at Pitt. That should be your very first call. And would he leave Pitt for Nebraska? I don't know. You'd probably have to financially make it worth his while. But he should be the first. He should be the very first call. But I'm sure he won't be. I'm sure Nebraska is going to go for somebody. They're going to look for somebody high profile or somebody that some name that moves. But I'm telling you right now, this coach at Pittsburgh is going to be somewhere big.
I'm gonna say though, Beats. I know it's gonna hurt somebody's ears by me saying this, but you know what I see that can change that program, even though you got like a tenant, pass, Urban Meyer.
Yeah, I don't think you can touch her. I don't think you can touch Urban Meyer right now. I don't think you can get away. I mean, and I don't think Urban Meyer would do it. I mean, you look at Urban Meyer's track record, he's not a program builder. The last program he built was Utah. And then he took over a Florida team that was already poised to be to be very good. Took them over. Took over an Ohio State program that was already really good. Took them over. But after what happened, after his exit at Ohio State and what happened to him down in Jacksonville, I don't even think you could. I think the media would kill him.
Or yes, let me throw another name out to you, Bill O'Brien.
Bill O'Brien would be I think he would be a better fit than Urban Meyer because again, we've seen Bill O'Brien build a program. We saw what he did at Penn State. We saw what he did at Penn State right after the Sandusky situation. Had them keep rolling and had them keep recruits there. He kept guys there that they knew they weren't going to play in bowl games, and he still brought guys in and was like, "No, we're going to be good. You're going to be fine. You're going to be here." And Bill O'Brien turned that into what happened at the Texans. And I've always said this: Bill O'Brien's a great coach. He was just a terrible GM, but coach on the field, he was very good. He was very good in Houston, and he was very good at Penn State, and he's very good as the offensive coordinator of Alabama. So I wouldn't mind Bill O'Brien. I wouldn't mind that name. I'm just telling you, Pat Narduzzi's gonna get offers from big schools. And if I'm Nebraska, you got the opening. You might as well jump on that right now because what he's doing down in Pittsburgh is pretty fascinating.
I feel like you can go get a good young coordinator. You need somebody that can bring some life, and you got to take the Lincoln Riley approach. These guys want the top recruits want to have fun, and Lincoln Riley relates to the youth. You know what I mean? He gets good players in.
Yeah, well, the Lincoln Riley approach right now is we'll just get everybody's transfers. And we'll get transfers. We brought Caleb Williams with me. We brought in Jordan Addison, who again was at Pittsburgh, recruited by Pat Narduzzi. And then they brought in Dye, the running back from Oregon. They brought in 24 transfers to Lincoln Riley's team. So that's kind of scary to watch USC, and I don't know how much of that game you watched. I watched a lot of it. I watched a lot of it on Skycam because I just couldn't take it anymore. I couldn't take the praise of USC. I love what USC has done. Like Herb Street, calm the hell down. Like just because you're doing the game doesn't mean you have to blow the other team. Like you're doing the game.
I'm getting tired of him. I'm sorry. Him, Chris Collinsworth. I'm tired of these guys. Even Tony Romo. Tony Romo talks like he's the all-time greatest quarterback of all time. Excuse my French. I get tired of him. You know what I mean? Like we all know. You know what I mean? He was all right, but you're not that great to be. You threw so many fucking picks. Even Bums was catching picks from you. You know what I mean? Yeah, it's not like
I like Tony. I like Tony's presentation. I like Tony's presentation. I like Tony because he is getting a little too big for his britches. I will admit that. But I just like Tony because he'll call out the play. He'll call out the play before it happens. He'll go, "Oh, they're gonna pass it to this guy here," and you'll just see it You'll just see it. I love that kind of analysis where he's calling out the plays. But that's the one thing I like about Tony is he does call the game. He does give his analysis, but that's what he's there for. That's what they ask him to do.
But he better be careful because when that big guy comes, aka TV12, nobody's gonna care about Tony Romo no more. They're gonna worry about what Tom Brady's talking about the game. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, I would wonder if Tom. I don't think Tom Brady would even go into broadcasting.
He is. He got a big contract. I think he's going to be making more than Troy Aikman. He already signed the deal for after his playing career.
Oh, did he?
Yeah. You got to look it up. Yeah, he already signed the deal.
Brady. I don't know. I don't know how good Tom. I mean, we'll see. We'll have to see how good Tom. I mean, we'll have to see what Tom Brady's like. Tom Brady doesn't sound like that to me. Like, he doesn't sound like the personality for it. But we'll see. We'll have to. You know, some of these guys are totally different when you hear them off the field. But I don't see Tom Brady as being that personality kind of guy. I know Tom Brady is going to be the name, and I know he's going to be that. So we'll have to see. But I put a question on whether he can be an announcer and how good he'll be as an announcer. But they got to do something. They got to do something. They got to do something in these booths because the games yesterday were awful.
Let's go to week 3, man. What are you looking forward to in week 3?
Week 3, I just brought it up, so let me go. Let me take a look. Obviously, it's Monday, so we got the initial runnings, the initial. Of course, the first game that jumps off the screen. Nobody wants to talk about them because they're BYU, but BYU at Oregon. That's a big one. That's a big one this week. Because
I got BYU.
I got BYU as well. The tough thing is going to be Autzen Stadium in Oregon. They always play tough at home. So that'll be a big one. Another big one also at 3:30 on Saturday. Auburn, Penn State, and Penn State at Auburn. You know, I watched that Penn State Ohio game, and the adoration that was being thrown at Penn State for beating Purdue and Ohio. Mm-hmm. Yeah, now you're going into Jordan Hare. I mean, if you want to show me that Penn State's for real, you got to go into Auburn. You got to take care of business here. So that's a big one.
Hold up, Beats. DC got he said BYU 52, Oregon 31. What do you think about that score?
52-31. If it's a whooping like that, I mean, Oregon. There's going to be some fun. There's going to be some mad people in Oregon. I mean, you think about how they lost the first game. The first game they gave up 50 against Georgia. If that defense gives up 50 again, there's going to be heads will roll in Oregon. Phil Knight will not. Phil Knight don't care. He'll pay. He'll get the coach right. He'll get the coach right out of there. At least the defensive coordinator won't be there that long. But yeah, if it's that bad, if it's over 50, that defensive coordinator's gone. Mm-hmm. But BYU is going in as the underdog, but I'm still going to take BYU. BYU in that one. Also looking at couple out of conference. It's a bounce back game for Texas A&M. Hey, we just talked about them in App State, but Miami going into Texas, going into College Station. It's a big game for both these. This is an even bigger game now. Because now it's a big game for Texas A&M because you can't lose 2. If you're Texas A&M, you can lose 1 and run through the SEC West and still be a viable team at the end of the year. You can't lose 2. Mm-hmm. So, and you can't lose 2 at home. But this is the game for Miami. This is a show me game for Miami. Is Miami back? Is Miami at a spot where they're a viable team? We'll find out this weekend. And the last game I'm looking at this weekend is USC again at home against Fresno State. And a lot of people are going to sleep on Fresno State's going to put up points. So That'll be a fun game. That'll be a fun game for some Pac-12 after dark. Oh, did we lose you? Oh, there we go. But yeah, week three is a big show. This is the show me week of the teams have got to make themselves. Teams have got to show up. This is where you start the separation of the good teams and the bad teams. So,
what did you catch any FCS games this over the weekend or?
I didn't watch a lot of FCS because there was just so much going on. There was just so much going on. I mean, every time I was tuning in, like I said, I watched the Penn State Ohio game because that was the only game I had on my station. But then in the afternoon I had A&M App State going on at the same time as South Carolina Arkansas. So I was flipping back between that, and then I had Florida Kentucky on, and was flipping back between that and the USC game. So I didn't get to see a lot of FCS this week, just because of all the chaos that was going on.
I have a question though for you, Deets. What do you think is the ceiling for University of Kentucky this year?
For Kentucky?
Yeah. What's the ceiling for you?
The ceiling for them is play Georgia to a close game. And that's what I'm thinking. I think right now you got past Florida, so Kentucky should be the second. They should be the second team in the SEC East. And it feels weird to say this, but anything less than that for Kentucky, you're looking at a bad season. It's going to come down to them in Tennessee and who's going to battle Georgia. Because right now I don't see anybody touching Georgia in the East.
Yeah, I don't see nobody touching.
I don't see anybody touching Georgia. So the key is just keep it close against Georgia and then ride it out. And I think if they do all that, they'll be in a pretty decent bowl game at the end of the year. Whether it's a January 1st game, that's a different story. But they'll be one of those teams that's talked about.
And now let's cross over to some NFL Week 1, man. There's some big upsets on that note. And
where do you want to start with? Where do you want to start with the NFL?
Let me go this game first, man. The Eagles versus the Lions, man. I didn't expect the game to be that high scoring. I'm not gonna lie to you. Jared Goff looked pretty good. DeAndre Swift looked amazing. What were some takes for you saw watching that game or seeing highlights of that game?
My takes from that game were this is exactly what I thought both teams were going to be. And it hasn't changed anything that you've seen it all day today. The reaction of, oh my God, the NFC East, everybody won but the Cowboys. Wait. The Eagles beat the Lions and they were destroying the Lions and they let the Lions come all the way back. So that Eagles defense is still a mess. For all the upgrades they made on offense, that defense is still a mess in Philadelphia. The Giants, people are saying, "Oh, I love the way the Giants played." If Bullock hits that field goal, what are we talking about with the Giants? We're talking about how the Giants lost a close game. So the Giants are still the same. The Redskins or the Commanders, whatever you want to call them, They needed a fourth quarter comeback to beat the Jaguars. So let's calm down with all this praise of everybody in the NFC East played great. No, they didn't play great. They didn't play great. The Giants got a big day out of Saquon Barkley, which finally,
finally,
about damn time. And you're seeing what's everybody knew Saquon Barkley was good. It's just a question of whether he can stay on the field or not.
Mm-hmm.
So you knew he was good. What I find amusing is everybody was talking about Daniel Jones at one point in the game was 9 of 11 for 90 yards. They're not throwing the ball down the field. Can the Giants win that way? I question whether you can win that way. I don't think you can win that way in the NFL. At some point, you have to push the ball down the field.
But how heartbroken you think Baker Mayfield is? You go against your former team, and you lose to Jacoby Brissett. How heartbroken you gotta be?
I think he's as heartbroken as when he got to Carolina. He was like, "Whatever, dude." Baker Mayfield looking at him on the sidelines, he looked like he didn't even want to be there.
You don't got no other options. Where else can he go?
I know he doesn't have any other, but he looked like, what the hell am I doing here? Like, how did I end up on this sideline? Like, that's what he looked like. But you got to remember, they still almost won that game, and Christian McCaffrey didn't play.
Mm-hmm.
So Carolina fans should be, they should be upset that they lost. But at the same time, they should be looking at it like, well, we didn't have our best weapon, so who really cared? You can't really judge anything off of this game because when Christian McCaffrey's there, the offense is going to be totally different.
Hey, man, also another great game I thought was good, man. I was watching that. You know what I mean? Because I turned my game off. You know what I mean? Let's just get into that heartbroken stuff I was watching. I feel like this got to be the worst. I know it's week 1. This got to be the worst New England defense I've ever seen. You know what I mean? And I've been a fan since elementary school. 10. I'm about to be 30 now. You know what I mean?
Yeah, so the biggest problem for New England was when Phillips went down.
Yeah, when Phillips went down, and we can say, man, you know what I mean? I'm not trying to be a hater. But I feel like that pick, it was a lot of holding, pass interference on that pick. But I'm not going to say that, you know what I mean? I'm not, I can't be devil advocate. I know a lot of people going to say, oh, man, you're drinking the Patriots Kool-Aid. But I saw some holding, pass interference in that pick. But
there's pass interference on every. There's pass interference is becoming offensive holding.
Yeah.
And if you talk to any NFL former offensive lineman, all the guys that go into the booth, and Mark Schlereth is one of the best ones. Mm-hmm. He says it every time. You could call holding on every play. You could call offensive holding on every play. Mm-hmm. Pass interference is getting that way to where you can call it on anything, and it's becoming. It's becoming that way, and it's changing games. It's awful. I mean, you look at the Patriots game. It was a non-call. In Cincinnati, they got a PI call late in that game that put them in field goal range. Now, luckily, the guy missed it, but easily could have hit that, won the game, and a pass interference call is what would have drowned that game.
Like again, all hats off to the Dolphins. I love the guys play calling. Mike McDaniels, he did a great job play calling. All hats off to them. They did great play calling. Their defense looked stout. You know what I mean? But Cheetah is a different maker for that team. I feel like they need to get Mike Gagassi some more touches. You know what I mean? You gotta use that tight end, man. You're wasting a great tight end.
Oh,
You know what I
guys,
mean?
yeah, Gasecki's a great tight end. They have a great offense, but this for that game, that game you almost throw it. You almost have to throw everything out in that game. Basically, because we've talked about this, and I warned you about this going in. The Patriots never play. The Patriots under Bill Belichick have never played well in Miami.
Yeah.
Never. Like it's always a struggle. It's always a struggle. No matter what they do when they play in Miami, it's always a weird game. It's always something. So to me, like this game is kind of in that category of just another South Florida game for New England. So.
You know what I mean? And then I woke up, you know what I mean, Deets. I took a little cat nap. My phone was blown up. Man, y'all season's over with. I beg to differ.
Oh.
I beg to differ.
The Cowboys without Dak. We've seen the Cowboys without Dak Prescott.
No, I'm saying for Patriots. I have buddies texting me, "Oh man, y'all season over with."
Oh, the Patriots will be fine.
We gonna figure
the Patriots will be fine. They'll bounce back.
We started 1-3 last year, Deets.
Yeah.
We started 1-3 last year.
Again, you have to write this off. You have to write this off. You have to write this off. You kind of write this off as, all right, we don't really know what the Patriots are because they started in Miami and they always play bad in Miami. It just always happens. So you kind of again just write it off, and next week we'll see what Bill's going to make Bill's going to make changes on the fly. He always does. He'll correct the defensive backs. They'll figure things out without Phillips, and they'll make. I have total faith in Bill Belichick. I have total faith that Bill Belichick will be able to figure this out.
But Deeks, let's go to the Saints and Atlanta game, man. What you expecting? Were you expecting Cordell Patterson to have 120 yards and 1 TD rushing? Did you expect that?
I kind of did. I mean, I've said this about Cordell Patterson. He's finally in the spot that he should be, as a running back, because he's not a wide receiver. I don't know. I don't know how he ever got put in as a wide receiver. Guy can't catch. He has as stone hands as I've ever seen anybody that's played wide receiver. So now that he's a running back, that's what he does best.
Uh-huh.
His game is get the ball on a pitch and run the ball. So I expected that. And it was against the Saints. The Saints do not have a marquee defense, so I expected that to be the Falcons' way to play. I mean, what else did you expect the Falcons to do?
Well, Drake London had a great game, man. Yeah, 5 receptions for 74 yards.
Yeah, good first game. Good first game. It takes a while. It takes a while for rookie wide receivers. It takes them a while to get used to the NFL, to get used to the coverage, get used to all the intricacies. So that it was a good start for him. I like where the Falcons are at. Yeah, they didn't win the game, but they look decent enough. The Saints. I mean, Taysom Hill. What? Taysom Hill is just a football player. Like he's not. They have him listed as a tight end. Yeah, they have listed as a tight end. Yet he was lining up at running back. He was lining up, blocking people. Like
he's
just a football player.
Mm-hmm.
Like his position is football player. He does whatever they ask him to do.
What about Jarvis Landry coming off that injury, man? He looked good. Seven receptions for 114 yards. He looked really great. That receiving core looked dangerous. I'm just going to be real. When they start clicking, they're going to be dangerous, Steve.
Jarvis Landry's Jarvis Landry's always been a good player. And He was good in Cleveland when they had no. He was the only bright spot in Cleveland when they had nobody.
Also Miami too. He was balling in Miami.
Yeah, so he's Jarvis Landry's always a good player. He's a fun dude too. If you ever watch him at the Pro Bowl, he's fun. He's a fun dude.
What about let's go to what you expecting the Vikings to get it done against Green Bay, man, this week? Where Kirk Cousins,
this goes back to last year. Last year people said the same thing. Remember last year when the Saints absolutely put a whooping on Green Bay in week 1? And everybody said, "Oh my God, Aaron Rodgers is done. Aaron Rodgers can't do this." And then Green Bay goes out the rest of the season and lights everything up.
Jefferson the dog.
This is like your typical. It's becoming like a thing for Aaron Rodgers to absolutely suck in week 1, and then come out and tell everybody to relax, and then go out and so I think we need to catch on to this by now and say, all right, Aaron Rodgers in week 1, wasn't that good, but I'll have to see. We'll see what that team is like at home, and see how that progresses, because Aaron Rodgers is working with all new guys, so we'll see. Man, but I'm not going to write off Green Bay off week 1, because we've seen it too many times where they've stumbled out of the gate and then all of a sudden we look up and they're 13-1.
Justin Jefferson had a great day though. He had 184 yards, 2 TDs.
Justin Jefferson proved he's the real deal.
Man, you know you're gonna get a crazy bag when that contract's up. You gotta pay him. You're gonna have to pay that man.
Yeah, all that money that Kirk Cousins gets, that's all going to Justin Jefferson.
You're gonna have to give it to him.
But he's proven to be the real deal. I mean, to me, it's Davante Adams, and then Justin Jefferson's right behind Davante as the top wide receivers.
Should we put
Davante put up a day. He had quite a day for Vegas, even though their quarterback decided to throw the ball to the other team, but
yeah.
That's nothing on Davante Adams. Davante Adams put up a day.
And I'm saying this now, man. That Charger defense looked good, man.
They did. They look good. They got after. They did what they had to do. I mean, you have Bosa and Khalil Mack. You're going to get after the quarterback, and those are the thing. Those are the things. What happens when you get after the quarterback? Well, he rushes the throw down the field, and it gets intercepted. And the Chargers have the best. They have the best 1-2 punch, because they have Khalil Mack and Bosa, and then you've got an athlete like Derwin James playing free safety. If that ball flutters, he's going to go get it.
Can you wait? I can't wait to see what J.C. Jackson looked like with them guys in that secondary, man. I can't wait. I can't wait, man.
That Chargers defense is going to be lights out. But as we said, as I told you on here, remember we were talking about the Chargers and we were talking about Keenan Allen. Well, yeah. Guess what? Keenan Allen's injured.
Oh man!
News flash. As if we didn't expect it. He played one game and he's already injured.
Yeah.
Again, Keenan Allen's a great guy to have on your team. It's just can't play, he can't get on the field.
Man, Asante Samuel had a good day though, man. Junior, I love Junior. I wish we could have drafted him. He's a physical corner, man. He's more physical than his old man, but he's having a good year, man. He's gonna have a good year this year, I believe.
Oh, Asante's old. He's gonna be just like his old man. I love the way he plays. I loved him in college.
Yeah. Man, how do you feel about the Chiefs and Cardinal game? What was your thoughts about the Chiefs and Cardinals?
A lot of people are throwing this out there as well. Why did they give Kyler Murray this big contract? They gave Kyler Murray the big contract for the whole season. not to beat the Chiefs. And not for nothing, you're not beating the Chiefs when Pat Mahomes throws for 5 touchdowns.
Yeah, you're not. That's not gonna happen.
You're not going to beat the Chiefs in that scenario. So, for everybody that's getting on Kyler Murray already, calm down. Kyler Murray will be just fine. Cliff Kingsbury will be just fine. We've already seen it. Arizona's a good team. They're not a great team. So when they play great teams, they look mediocre. When they play against the Seattle Seahawks, and when they play against other bad teams on their schedule, they're going to look really good. That yesterday was one of those days where they got mediocre because they played against a great team. And newsflash for everybody, I know the Chargers upgraded, I know the Raiders upgraded, and we know Denver upgraded. Yeah, Kansas City's still they're still there.
Did you see how they was using Hilaire in the passing game? You know what I mean?
Uh-huh.
He looked it good. He looked it good. Yeah.
You start using that. You start using backs in the passing game. That offense is going to be unstoppable.
Mm-hmm. Hey, D, what you expecting the Bears to upset?
I did expect. Once I saw the weather. Once I saw that the weather was going to be absolutely disgusting, my boy said this, and I walked into the bar. I looked up at the TV. I said, "Holy crap! What is going on in this game?"
Uh-huh.
And I looked at the weather. I said, "Nope." I said, take the Bears." My buddy asked me. He said, well, "What am I doing? What am I doing here?" I said, "Take the Bears in the under." Because this is going to be a sloppy game. It's going to be low scoring, and you're going to be able to get out of it. And everybody looked at me like, what? And I was like, dude, you're getting 7.5. Like, you take that 7.5 all day long. And the over under was like 40. I think my buddy said it was like 39.5 for the over under. I said, look at it. It's raining. It's raining. The field's a lake. You're not gonna get many. You're not even gonna throw the ball in this weather, and they didn't. And the Bears had a better running quarterback. That's how they won.
Straight up like that. I see a lot of people saying, "Man, put Jimmy G in." I said, "You can't do that.
You can't do it. You can't do it after that game. You can't do it off that game. You can't do it. It was a monsoon. You can't. You putting Jimmy G in wouldn't have done anything.
No,
wouldn't have done anything because you're not going to throw the ball in that weather. So it wouldn't have made a difference there anyway. And you're not going to make that. We've said this. I've said it on your program. I've said it on my program. You can't make that change. Once you go to Jimmy G, you can't put that bullet back in the chamber. So you're not going to make that. You're not Mike Shanahan. I said Mike. Kyle Shanahan's not going to make that decision based off of the elements of that game. He's not going to go, all right, well, we need a passer based off a guy who was throwing in a monsoon. That's not how they're going to label this. So, you're going to have San Francisco's going to have to take that. They're going to have to bite that on the chin. Like, that was a game they should have won. They didn't. Now they've got to go out and do something, but you can't make a quarterback change off week one. Off week one in the pouring rain. That's not a good decision.
You definitely can't do that, man. It's definitely, man, Julio. I gotta blame Tennessee, man. They was not really using him. Look at him yesterday. He was looking really great. He looked really great. I think he just didn't fit their system last year. And you see how he looking. You see how he's looking with, Tampa. He looks good. Looks healthy.
Julio Jones looked like the Julio Jones of old. He was three or four steps behind people. I mean, it's exactly right. You have to look at how he was being used last year, because Tampa wasn't asking him to run routes over the middle of the field. They were asking him to run quick slant, we'll get you the ball, or it's either quick slant and you're getting the ball, or it's run deep down the field, and when you're 3 steps behind everybody, we'll throw it to you. And he had that one. I mean, if he makes that diving catch at the 5-yard line, we're talking about a totally different thing with Julio, because that was like a 40-yard play.
Exactly.
But Julio Jones looked really good. Tampa Bay looked like I thought they would look. That game went exactly how I thought it was going to go, until of course I left the game right after the drive in the third quarter, when I went, nope, this game's over. This game's over. I'm going back home. Of course, by the time I got home, I get home and there's an update. Dak Prescott leaves the game, and I was like, oh, there goes the season.
Yeah.
I mean, the big question is, how long will he be out? I know he needs hand surgery, so I'm assuming it's going to be at least 6-7 weeks.
But Fournette, he looked great, man. I liked him in that pass block. You saw he nailed Micah Parsons with that.
He body slammed him. He straight up Kevin Nash power bombed him, and was just like, boom, see ya. But again, I didn't expect the Cowboys to win that game. I didn't even pick them last night. I picked Tampa Bay, so I knew that was going to happen. I thought it would be a better game. I thought the Cowboys would play better than they did, but if they didn't lose Dak Prescott, I wouldn't be as down on the team as I am. I mean, but you got to throw this out there. I mean, what are you doing, Mike McCarthy? Mm-hmm. Why does Ezekiel Elliott have 10 carries for 50 yards? I mean, if he has 50 yards, why does he only have 10 carries? He should have at least 15 to 20 carries.
Why does Pollard have 6?
I don't understand. I don't understand it. And people could say, "Oh, it's because they were losing." You were never losing by that much to where you had to throw every down, and passing the ball against that defense wasn't working. So I don't understand. And the thing is, halfway through the game, you realize Tampa Bay knew they weren't going to run the ball, because they were dropping Levante David into coverage every play. They were rushing 4 guys because they knew, they're going to be passing. We don't even need to keep our linebackers. Their linebackers were 10 to 20 yards down the field.
But Todd Bowles is a genius.
Run some draw plays, run the football, and keep the defense honest, and maybe you can open some of those holes up. But no, that's not the Cowboys' way. That's not the way they play. It's just one of those things. You gotta, as a fan of the team, you gotta just be like, all right, it's not the way this guy does it.
All right, Chris D, we about to take a little quick commercial break.
Absolutely.
But yeah, man, it's definitely some things they can crank out. But man, definitely that loss of Dak for 7 weeks definitely gonna hurt, man. You definitely gonna have to rely on that running game to win some games.
We're gonna have to. We're gonna have. Maybe this will be a good thing. I mean, maybe this will be a good thing to force the offense, to force Kellen Moore and Mike McCarthy to run the football.
Mm-hmm.
Like that's all. That's all we can. That's all you can hope for. And then right now it's survive. You got to survive without. If you could survive without Dak, and then see what happens when he comes back. But that's there. Dude, I want to talk about why no one else is talking about Pittsburgh. What Pittsburgh did in Cincinnati was, whew, I gotta tell you, man, and it sucks. TJ Watt's probably out for the year.
Woo!
Yeah, and that injury was bad. I watched that live. I went, nope. I went, his arm is done. He came off the field. He couldn't move his arm. I was like, uh-oh. But the Steelers find a way, man. The Steelers found a way. And 4 interceptions, 7 sacks against the Super Bowl runner-ups.
Mm-hmm.
And yet, nobody's talking about the Steelers. They won a game. They won a game with Mitch Trubisky.
Mm-hmm.
And like I said earlier this morning, you know what that means. You know who that comes back to. Mike Tomlin. Mike Tomlin's just finds a way to win.
Never had
a losing record. Finds a way to win, and nobody talks about him.
No coach of the years.
No,
it's ridiculous.
No one ever talks about Mike Tomlin, and the guy's won a Super Bowl. He's been to another one, and it's like, oh well, and everybody, the guy's never had a losing season.
Yeah,
and come out the way that they did, blocking an extra point to win the game. We just have to say this. I've been saying this. I've been doing my program for 5 years. We've said this from day one. College kickers, man. You can't trust a college kicker. Well, those college kickers are now NFL kickers because you can't trust an NFL kick anymore.
No,
there's not a single kick that you can look at and be like, oh, this is a good one. This is a gimme. Like, none of them are gimmies anymore. These college kickers have become pros, and it's bad. It's bad.
Ain't too many Vinatieri's no more, man. There's no Vinatieri's. Maybe Justin Tucker, but that's about it, man. There ain't no aces no more in the kicking game.
It's Justin Tucker, and that's it. I mean, the kid from the Bengals was supposed to be the next best one, and he shanked 2 of them yesterday. Absolute shanks. Like he had 1 blocked, and then he had 2 other ones that were just absolutely not even close.
That definitely was definitely a big miscue.
And then you got the kid the kid from Georgia in Indianapolis. Doinked the winner off the post. It just kicking was so bad yesterday.
Just the biggest thing that kind of made me kind of laugh and giggle. Like, why are you trusting Joe Flacco to throw it 50+ times?
Oh, welcome to the Jets. Like the Jets. Oh, you don't have your quarterback? What are you going to do? Run the football? No, we're going to throw it. We're going to throw it 60 times. Ha. Welcome to the Jet. Welcome to Jets football. like people, Tarek Saleh, he's a good coach. He's a defensive guy. Why are you throwing the ball 60 times? Like, it doesn't make any sense. Against a Baltimore team that, I mean, Baltimore's stats yesterday were so funny. Lamar Jackson at one point was 11 of I think he was 11 of 17 with 3 touchdowns. And it was like 11 of 17 for like 100 yards. And he had 3 touchdowns.
Jesus.
Like, he throws you're going against an offense that's not going to put up numbers. Why are you trying to throw the ball 60 times? Like, your best bet is to run the football, control the ball, and not let that offense on the field. But no, Jets do the exact opposite of everything, because at some point I think the Jets are just actively trying to lose games.
Do you feel like he got some? You feel like he's in the heat in this seat, or do you think they're going to give him multiple years to rebuild the team?
Salas. I think he'll get. I don't think he's on the hot seat this year. And I think the fact that they lost. I think the fact they lost Kyle Wilson, at the beginning of the first game of the preseason, I think that gives a little bit of leash. At least it should. Mm-hmm. It would in my mind, to say, all right, but you can't have this. Like, you can't be losing like this. If you're gonna lose, at least lose the right way. You can't have your guys throwing. I don't care who your quarterback is. Can't be throwing 60 times a game.
Yeah,
especially when you're the Jets and you drafted Breece Hall in the 2nd round. Use him. Just hand him the ball.
It sounds like it makes sense to me, but it don't make sense to them.
It doesn't make sense. But again, it's Jets football. Whatever makes sense, they're going to do the opposite. That's the way the Jets. It's the way the Jets have been. Jets have been like that for 39 years of my life, and they'll probably be like that the next 39 years of my life.
I feel like, and also they didn't get no kind of pass rush. Like, you got all them draft pieces in the trenches and stuff. They didn't get no pass rush from Lamar. He had pretty much pockets, you know what I mean, all the time. He didn't have to. You look at the rush yards. He didn't even run. That's how much time he had.
They played the way. They played the way. They played the scared way. Again, when you watch Lamar Jackson, there are teams that play. Oh, we got to contain him. We got to keep him in the pocket. What happens against those teams? They don't rush him. They give him all the time in the world, and eventually he either finds a spot or he just stands in there and waits forever until the tight end gets open. That's what he does. The teams that beat Baltimore and make them look foolish are the teams that come after them. Like Buffalo in the playoff game.
Last year.
Buffalo in the playoff game. They blitzed the hell out of him. Because they knew, hey, if we blitz him, he's not running anywhere. He's gonna have to get rid of the ball quick, and he's gonna have to make decisions, and that's not his game. But there are so many people that say, "Oh, we're playing Lamar Jackson. We gotta set the edges, and we gotta make sure he doesn't scramble." Well, if you're doing that, you're not rushing the passer, and you're not putting any pressure on him, and he's just able to stand there. So it makes things so much easier. So there's conventional wisdom, and then there's what we've seen on the field. Like, the conventional wisdom is, we gotta contain him and spy him. No, you gotta do what the Bills did and just go after him. And if we miss him, he runs for a touchdown. But if we believe in ourselves and we don't miss him, he doesn't get nothing on us. So that's what you got to look at when you look at these games.
What prediction do you have for tonight? You know what I mean? It's a big game, a great game, a great you know what I mean, great Monday night game. Broncos at Seahawks. How do you see this game going?
My prediction opens up. I think Russell Wilson gets a standing ovation when they announce him at the start of the game. I think that happens, and then the first pass he throws, I guarantee he gets booed out of the building. And that's how it should be in Seattle. They should show respect to Russell Wilson, and then once the game starts, absolutely hate him. But as far as the rest of that game goes, I think you're going to get a typical Russell Wilson game where he looks really good. I think Seattle comes back late, and then Russell Wilson puts him to bed at the end. So I'm thinking Denver. I'm thinking Denver wins, but I think it's going to be closer than people think.
Just guess a score. Just give us a score. What you think? How close
I'm going to say, based off yesterday, based off of a theory of mine, I haven't looked at what the over under is, but I'm going to go 20. I'm going to go 27-23.
Oh, that's a close game.
Like I said, I think Denver's going to start out really hot. This is what Russell Wilson does in big games. Starts out really hot, then he cools down. The other team comes back a little bit, and then he puts them away in the fourth quarter. And that's what I think. That's what I think is going to happen in this one.
I was worried about them ducks. If Geno throws some ducks out there,
yeah,
it can get out of hand. It can get out of hand.
The Seahawks. You're starting Geno. You're starting Geno Smith. What are we doing? What are we doing? You traded for Drew Lock. Why are you starting Geno Smith? I mean, this is Seattle's way of saying, all right, well, we're in the Bryce Young bidding right now, and we're just gonna find a way to, because they know they don't have a quarterback.
Man, let's go to some other news, man. Albert Pujols gets 697 homers. Man, how do you feel about him, man? Getting that hits, that many hits.
I'm happy for that. I'm happy for that. Even if he doesn't get 700, at least he passed A-Rod. Mm-hmm. And everybody that passes A-Rod is good in my book. But I mean, Albert Pujols, I hope he gets 700. I don't know who they're playing down the stretch, but I'm hoping it's somebody who's not in the race, and they can just play him, and whoever's pitching can just serve him up a batting practice, some BP. Just serve him some BP, let him get to 700, and call it a career. But Albert's one of the classiest players. He's probably the last of the classiest players that we'll ever see. So I'll always give props to Albert Pujols. And like I said, I'm just glad he's above. I'm glad he got above A-Rod. Anybody that pushes A-Rod down the list is good in my book.
Man, how do you feel about this, man? This basketball Hall of Fame. Did you see who went in?
Ginobili?
Yeah, how do you feel about that, man?
I feel like his statue was wrong. It should have been him slapping the bat. That's the only reason. A lot of people have said, "Oh, Ginobili's not a Hall of Famer." Ginobili's a Hall of Famer. The minute he slapped that bat out of the air, he was a Hall of Famer. But no, Ginobili's one of those guys who everybody says, "Oh, he came off the bench. He was this, that." It doesn't matter. Mm-hmm. His NBA career plus his international career is unmatched. It's unmatched with anybody that we've seen, as far as NBA and international. We've never seen anything like that. So he was worthy of going in. They put, it seems like they put everybody in the Hall of Fame in basketball. So I don't really like, if somebody gets in, I'm like, okay. If somebody's not in, I'm like, well, I'm sure they'll get in. They'll let them in eventually.
How did you feel about Steph Curry revealing that they was thinking about bringing KD back?
Why not? Like, why not? I mean, why wouldn't you want to bring? I mean, the only reason KD is still in Brooklyn is because Brooklyn was asking for. They were asking. The asking price was astronomical, and everybody was like, "Yeah, we're not doing that." Like, but if you asked any of those players, would you bring KD back? Yeah, we'll take KD. Look what we did with KD. 3 straight titles. Would have been they would still be rolling. They would still be rolling in titles right now if KD didn't bust his knee.
Oh my God!
If KD doesn't have that injury, he doesn't leave Golden State because they win that title. And why would he leave after a title?
They would definitely. I think that was the X factor in 2019. Once he went out and Clay went out, I said, yeah, Steph can't. He can't have some kind of performances.
When he went down the first time, I was like, oh well. I was like, that's it for KD. KD is done. But if Golden State went that far, and then when they tried to bring him back, I was like, what are you guys doing? And of course, we've seen what happened since. But that doesn't diminish what KD is or what he does. KD's still a star. It's still a great player. And of course Steph would be like, yeah, come on in. I've got my MVP. I've got four rings. Why not bring KD in and go for 7?
Yeah, I definitely think so.
Golden State's in the spot where they could say, yeah, bring KD in. But at the same time, if we don't bring him in, we're still the best team. So it doesn't make it different. It doesn't make a difference what we do. It doesn't matter what we do.
I think they definitely got to do something with that. They definitely need to get a big as a free agent, man. Definitely another big, man. I know Wiseman young, but you need another big, man.
Wiseman coming back off the bench, coming back will be big. I think Golden State will make a move at the trade deadline and get somebody big, get a big to come off the bench, somebody to spell in case Draymond has some issues, that somebody that they can bring in to control the middle of the floor. That's what I think Golden State will do.
I think this is Draymond's last year with him. Be honest with you, I don't think unless he's going to take the bare minimum, I don't see him coming back after this year.
I don't know if that I don't know if that's a good move for Draymond. For Draymond, I think Draymond. I'm not a big fan of Draymond Green. I think he fits in Golden State. I don't think he would fit anywhere. I think if he goes somewhere, I know somebody will bring him in as a big name. But the thing is, if he goes somewhere else and fails, that could derail everything that Draymond Green has. If Draymond Green stays in Golden State and they win, they win 2 or 3 more titles.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you're talking about Draymond Green as having a Hall of Fame career. If he goes somewhere else and fails, everybody's going to go, well, see, it was only Golden State. He was part of a system.
There's only one place I see him that he would fit, Deets, and that would be like the Spurs or somebody. I don't see him fitting nowhere else in the league. I feel like the Spurs. It
I
was
don't think
semi.
I don't think he would fit. I don't think he would fit with the with the way. I mean, Pop's not going to be coaching there for that much longer, but the way the Spurs are, I got to think even when Pop goes, they're going to get a Pop disciple in there.
You know what he plays like? To me, Draymond Green is an aggressive Boris Diaw, and I'm serious about it. He plays like Boris Diaw to me. He'd be aggressive.
Boris Diaw was a better offensive player.
Yeah, a better shooter, but that's
He's
like
a better offensive player.
That's what he kind of my comp for him is Boris Diaw. If he had a jumper, you know what I mean. But
I think what'll happen is I think Draymond and this is a fit. This is a fit for me. I think he's Horace Grant. And you look at Horace Grant. What Horace Grant was to the Bulls, if he had stayed with the Bulls and done what he did, Horace Grant would be a Hall of Famer.
Mm-hmm.
When he went to the Magic and nothing really great, they said, oh, well, it was a product of being with Scotty and Michael. And they didn't even look at what Horace Grant, even though Horace Grant was part of making the Magic as good as they were, he really wasn't looked at as a big part of that.
Yeah, he definitely was.
I think in the same light, Draymond Green will be in the same light. If he stays in Golden State and they win a couple more titles, you could look at him. You're going to look at him as being part of the linchpin of that. Whereas if he goes somewhere else, you're going to go, oh, it was just the system in Golden State and it wasn't him. So it's a risk. If he goes somewhere, he has to go somewhere that he can win. I don't think you can build your team around him.
No doubt, man. I feel like it's definitely. And let me say something before you get out of here. Snowman, you gotta stop this slander, man. Jack Sigma and Kurt Rambis and Tom Chambers would never be able to hold LeBron James' jockstrap. Stop it. Stop the cap. You know what I mean? Sick Big E and all them old heads. Y'all can, keep on praising that. And you know what I mean? Michael Jordan is still tormenting Scottie Pippen. His son is smashing Scottie Pippen's ex-wife. How backstabbing that is right there. That is sick.
That's Jordan. That's Jordan. That's Jordan. That's the Jordan way. That is ruthless. I know. Oh, did you see that intro last night?
What intro?
The Tom Brady intro.
Oh yeah.
That was great. Jordan talking about Tom Brady.
Yeah, they're buddies and stuff, man. Him.
Oh, absolutely they are, because they're the same kind of play. Because they're the same kind of person. Jordan was the same way. For Jordan, it was never about I want to be the highest paid player. It was I want to win. For Tom Brady doesn't want to be the highest paid quarterback. He just wants to win. They're both the same kind of guy.
Man, I definitely, man, it was definitely an epic intro, man. I thought that was a cool intro. I thought it was really neat when they first showed Jordan on the screen, and then I was like, why are they talking about Jordan? And then Jordan just talking about Tom Brady. I was like, oh my god. I was like they hit the nail. They hit the nail on the head. They should have just done that. They should have just done that for the whole pregame. Do you feel like, man, I have no possibility of them going all the way. But if it's Tom Brady getting to another Super Bowl. Yeah.
I look at the NFC South. Tampa's going to be the 1 or 2. They're going to be the 1 or 2 seed in the NFC.
But if it's some kind of way, Deets, in a magical world, this guy gets to 8. Can we stop the Joe Montana? If he gets past that, he gets to the 8 flusher.
You're talking to somebody who's already stopped it. I mean, it stopped. It stopped when Tom won in Tampa. It stopped when Tom won in Tampa. When he beat Kansas City, that's when I went. All right, Tom took it over. But it comes down to everything, and it's why on Fit Down Sports Show, it's why we do the Summer of Greatness. Like, it's why we talk about Summer of Greatness all the time, because people want to come up with lists and all this stuff. What it comes down to is criteria. As long as you have there's criteria for putting Montana up there, but there's criteria for putting Brady above Montana. So it all comes down to what you value the most when you talk about those two. Because I know what everybody says. 4-0. Montana was 4-0. All right, Montana won. Yeah, Montana won 4 Super Bowls. He was never the underdog going into the Super Bowl. Never. Mm-hmm. He had the best team going in every single time. Mm-hmm. So Tom Brady's first Super Bowl was against the greatest show on turf. Woo! Clearly an underdog. When they beat the Rams the second time, when they beat the Rams with Sean McVay, the Patriots were the underdog in that game. Like, people forget that because everybody was like, oh, it's Tom Brady in the Super Bowl. They must be the better team. No. They were the underdog in that Super Bowl. Tampa Bay was clearly the underdog going against the repeat champion Chiefs, and Tom Brady was able to get that. So I get it. Tom Brady, I get it. He lost to the Giants, but every time Tom Brady lost the Super Bowl, I mean, you go to the losses. Tom Brady wasn't on the field to knock down the Tyree catch. Mm-hmm. Tom Brady wasn't there for that. Tom Brady wasn't responsible for Asante Samuel falling down while Plaxico Burress is running wide open into the end zone. Like, mm-hmm. He wasn't responsible for Asante Samuel dropping a pick six that would have closed the game out. Mm-hmm. Tom Brady wasn't responsible for that. Tom Brady wasn't on the field when Mario Manningham made his ridiculous catch on the sidelines. Like, if you reverse all of those Super Bowls, Tom Brady couldn't have thrown it. Where did you want him to throw the ball? It hit Wes Welker between the 8 and the 0.
Yeah.
Or the 8 and the 3, whatever number he was. It hit him right in between the numbers, and if he catches that pass, the Mario Manningham play never even happens. So
he threw 500 yards against Philly.
And that's what I was going to say. In Philly, if the Patriots win, Tom Brady would have been the MVP of that Super Bowl. Tom Brady probably was the MVP of that Super Bowl without winning. But so you can look at all of those things. So you can go back and you can say, yeah, they lost Super Bowls. Okay, I mean, the guy played in 9 of them. He's not going to win them all. You're not going to win. You're not going to win them all. If he were 9-0, we'd be sitting here going, why are we playing this game anymore? Why are we even playing? We know what's going to happen. So it's that kind of thing when we talk about who's the greatest of all time. To me, it comes down that Tampa Bay game. One, it gave them a Super Bowl away from Bill, and it gave him another Super Bowl where he was the underdog going in. And that to me put vaults Brady over. I could sit here, I could argue Montana all day long. I mean, you could make there are arguments for Montana, but there are also arguments against. So it goes to whoever you want. It's why we do the Summer of Greatness, because we break it down by category, and you hit it. It's why it comes out. It's why it comes out that way. But we talk about that with everything, anything, quarterbacks, running backs, wide receivers. It all comes down to what your criteria is. Mm-hmm. If your criteria is just who was the most freakish athlete, well, yeah, Randy Moss is going to be the greatest wide receiver of all time. Mm-hmm. But if you look at route running and you look at catching the football, you look at big plays, there's no question about it. It's Jerry Rice. Mm-hmm. But you could make the argument for Randy Moss because he was the most superior talent we've ever seen, and nobody can argue that. No. When you look at running back, I always say it's Emmitt Smith because I love the way Emmitt Smith played. But Barry Sanders and Walter Payton were the best running backs. They were most skilled running backs I've ever seen. Mm-hmm. And there's no question about that with Barry. I have Walter Payton because Walter did it first. Walter was doing things that you there's a reason they called him sweetness. Like he made people look foolish. He was Barry Sanders before Barry Sanders.
Mm-hmm. Jackson State too.
And then Barry came along, and so there's arguments for everybody. It all comes down to criteria. And that's why I always ask people when they make these statements, I always go, all right, why? Tell me why. And then when they tell me their reason, I go, okay, you and Snowman get at it with LeBron and Michael. Mm-hmm. There are arguments. There are arguments. Mm-hmm. But when people always bring up LeBron arguments, and they try to diminish Jordan. I'm like, no, you're not going to diminish Jordan. You have to just bring up arguments that fit LeBron.
And the biggest thing for me is longevity. That's the biggest thing you can say. You got to say clearly that's a factual thing. Longevity.
And there you go. You're not going to be able to as long as that's your criteria, then you're gonna have that. Like LeBron's got a 19-year career. The thing you would say with Jordan is he wasn't allowed to go to the NBA, and what he did in college because LeBron didn't go to college. That's the only reason I count Jordan's college days because LeBron didn't go.
I don't think it would be fair. I don't think it would have been fair.
I don't think so either, but that's the difference between that's the difference of an NCAA tournament. How many times have we seen the best player in the NCAA tournament get knocked out? It happens all the time. That's why everybody loves March Madness.
Could you imagine? Let's say he loves Coach K. Could you imagine him and Coach K together?
Him at Duke would have been something I would have loved. I would have loved to see. I would have loved to see LeBron at Duke.
Or Ohio State, you can go on and on. You know what I mean? Him and Carmelo together.
That's the problem. He probably would have gone to Ohio. He probably would have gone to Ohio State, and he would have played with Thad Matta, and it probably would have ended badly.
Or let's say him and Carmelo went to Syracuse together. You can't beat them two forwards together. You can't beat them two forwards together.
No, the problem is none of them would have played defense.
This what I'm saying. Let me say this.
I hate the 2-3 zone more than I hate anything in my life. It's the worst. It's the worst thing in basketball.
Let's say this, man. A lot of people say, "Oh, LeBron didn't have no good defense." I can show you instances. He should have won in 2013 over Mark Gasol that year. What he was doing on defense in 2013 and them championship years with Miami playing defense, you could have said he could have been defensive MVP.
You could say that, but you could say that there were a lot of years where that, and that's the problem with what people had is back in the days, and I don't mean like olden time, but back in the days that when LeBron, there were times where the media was like, well, we could give it to LeBron every year, but we're not going to. And I was like, well, that's gonna. I always said that's gonna hurt him later. If you can give it to LeBron, give it to him. If you're gonna give it to LeBron, give it to him. But don't come out and say, well, we could, but we went another way because we want somebody else to get it. Like, no, give it to LeBron because it's just going to be used against. Like, we know Jordan. Anybody who watched Jordan knows Jordan was defensive player of the year. All the years that he won it, he was locked down. And Jordan was always that guy. Like, the difference to me between the two of them, it all comes down to mentality. It's mentality of basketball. Whenever Jordan's Bulls got in a situation where, and you have to go to the Bulls Blazers series.
Yeah, go ahead.
Is what's most of it. Clyde Drexler comes out and has a game one out of his mind, or it was game one or game two. It came out of his mind. Jordan went up to Phil and said, and after the game, and said, I got him next game. I got him. You tell everybody else to do whatever they want. Clyde Drexler went from having, I think it was something like 34 points. Jordan covered him. He had 6. Like that was Jordan's mentality was, all right, if you're going to be the best guy on the floor, I'm taking you and you're going to have to beat me. LeBron doesn't have that. LeBron is not the guy who's going to go, all right, Dirk is killing us. I got Dirk today.
I take that wholeheartedly. I feel like they should definitely have won in 2011. I feel like they all shrunk up, but to use that against them and like other greats haven't had bad games in the finals, we can't say that.
Everybody has bad.
Nobody says nothing about the 04 Lakers losing to Detroit. Nobody never talk about that. It was clearly the better team, right?
They were definitely that's one of the upsets of all time.
Nobody talks about it though, Deets. Nobody talks about it though.
No, because they won after. Because Kobe won, because Kobe went on to win. Everybody knows why they lost that.
6 years later, though.
Shaq and Kobe were fighting.
They never 6 years later, but they never talked about it. They had to wait another 6 years for him to win one. But I'm saying this: nobody talk about the other greats. They always shit on LeBron. Oh no, I never compared him to Jordan. I feel like he is a super Magic Johnson. He plays like Magic. He's trying to get all his players involved with the game. He want to play all the other 4. He want the other 4 to get the points too. And people shit on, oh man, you passed the Mario Chalmers in the corner. He was wide open. That's what you're supposed to do. Somebody wide open.
Yeah, it's mentality. Like Jordan was that guy. Like, give me the ball and give me the ball. Get out of my way. Like, I'm going to the hole, and we're gonna win or lose with me. Like, I don't care if we win, it's on me. If we lose, it's on me. But it's on me. I'm not passing that up. And the only way Jordan passed it up was when 3 guys came at him, and he said it in the huddle. All 3 guys. He said, the 3 guys are coming at me. Kerr, you're getting the ball. And he kicked it to Kerr. Kerr hits it. Game over.
But we also got to say this, though, Dietz. You know what makes it even more magical? And this is an arguable thing before we get out of here. He won everywhere he went. Nobody can say that. How many people you can say that in history won everywhere they went?
I mean, you could say he won everywhere he went, but you could also say he went. You could also say, but the other side of that is he went other places.
Mm-hmm.
Like he always that's one of the knocks on LeBron is.
But he also brought one back home though.
He left, went to Miami, did his thing in Miami, left, went to Cleveland, did that, left, went to LA. Like,
but he won one. He brought one home though.
So it's one of those. It's one of those things. Like I don't care. I don't care. It's not my life. Like LeBron can go play. LeBron can go play wherever he wants. Like to me, that's why they invented. That's why free agency exists.
And I think that's good for the game, free agency, man. You know what I mean? Old players got stuck in terrible situation, unhappy. You know what I mean?
I mean, nobody says anything about Reggie White. Right? Reggie White, who started free agency in the NFL by going to Green Bay, wins a Super Bowl, and everybody looks at Reggie White as one of the greatest players of all time. If he stayed in Philly, everybody would be saying, well, Reggie White never played in a Super Bowl.
Yeah.
So that's why free agency exists. It exists so that people can go do whatever they want. But again, when you're breaking these things down, you're not breaking them down as, all right, it's Jordan and then everybody else is trash. Like, if you're comparing the greatest of the greats, you're comparing them to the greatest of all time. Like, you're not comparing LeBron to, a seventh string bench guy. You're comparing him to the greatest.
No Tom Chambers.
The problem is when people vault. The problem is when people vault them up. And again, the criteria matters. How many times do we see these things on Facebook where it's like, well, Jordan didn't do this, and I love the fact. Oh, Jordan never beat the Celtics, and I was like, the '86 Celtics are the greatest team of all time. Like, why? How are you going to hold that against somebody? I'm sorry, you're not going to be able to hold the greatest team of all time against somebody. Mm-hmm. And that's where the arguments fall apart when people make stupid straw arguments. Like, I'll throw them out there, like Nick Wright on FS1, who likes to say, "Oh, LeBron's the greatest because he had the greatest finals game ever." And I'm like, dude, Jordan scored 55 in a win. What are you talking about? Where if you're gonna make the argument for one, you gotta keep the arguments the same.
I just feel like people really disrespect Scotty though, man. Like I don't like the look of making him sound like he's a bum. You know what I mean? He was a great player. He was a great player.
Because Scotty was a great player. Scotty was he was a great role player. He wasn't a great player by himself. By himself, he was not a great player.
But look at this, though. But
everybody knows. We know that because we know what happened when Jordan left. We know that because Jordan left for 3 years.
But he took him to the Eastern Conference Finals. So how was he not a
He took him to the Eastern Conference Finals when Jordan came back. He didn't take him to the Eastern Conference Finals before that.
It's not the Eastern Conference Finals, but he took them into the playoffs. And they lost in like the first or second playoffs. But Deets, what did Cleveland do after LeBron left the first time? How many wins did they get?
Oh, they were awful. They were awful. But they were awful. But they were awful.
It was like the 15th seed. Like, go.
Cleveland got the number 1 pick. They got Kyrie Irving. And that's how bad they were. That's how bad they were.
But we can go on Deets about this. But man, what do you got coming up this week?
This week we are actually going to do a show because I know last week things got out of control, work got crazy, but we're gonna make sure we get work under control. But this week on the show we got best and worst of the weekend. There's a lot of worst to get to in college football from this weekend. So we'll get best and worst, and we'll get our picks out there. And are we coming back? I like doing our picks on Friday.
It had to be like Friday night type situation.
See, I'm working Friday. I'm working Friday night.
Or
we'll do picks. I know I'll be doing picks Thursday night.
I could just jump on your stuff Thursday night.
Yeah, we'll do all the picks. We'll be talking everything. We'll be talking college. We'll have the big games in college, and we'll do every NFL game. So we'll be doing that, and we'll be doing it Thursday before. I got screwed up in the schedule because my TV showed kickoff at 7, but that was for the pregame show. Now that I know kickoff's not till 8:30, we'll be doing the show a little bit later. That way I can get in, and we'll get in and we'll get out before kickoff, so everybody can watch us for pregame, and then watch. I think it's Chargers Chiefs. I think.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, just let me know and I'll jump on your stuff. We can picks on yours.
Yeah, definitely. So I'll let you know. But that's what we're doing. That's how we do it. That's how we do it in season. We do best and worst of the weekend. We'll talk about the games. We'll talk about a lot that happened. I mean, I saw a lot of it this weekend. I saw a lot of great stuff this weekend. But oh man, the worst. It's going to be hard to pick a worst of the weekend.
This has been Midday Sports with Rod and Lens Crew, and also we got Chris Deese of Fit Down Sports. Go check him out, man. He said he's going to put something out this Thursday. Definitely go get them pick'ems, man. Go get them pick'ems. And this has been Midday Sports, and we're out of here.
All right, guys. Have a good one.